Hi everyone, I am here with a true story where miracles happen, true stories of heavenly encounters. A friend let me borrow this book. I'm trying to get it done because she wants this one back when I'm done with it. And I just got done with one reading it to you guys and I passed it along to someone. And after I'm done with this one, I'll probably order us another one next month off Amazon. It won't be a guidepost book, I don't think it was, but still true stories. It looked really good. I think I'll order the one that has the doctors telling stories, because doctors usually don't believe in God and miracles and stuff like that, but the doctors in these stories have had things, happen or seen things that they can't explain. Okay. So, they have a quote or a Bible verse or something before each story. And this quote is by Albert Einstein. And it says, "The most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious." All right, so this story is called Have You Been Praying? Pam and Ken Larson of Ann Arbor, Michigan, wanted to adopt a baby. At the time, there were no private adoptions arranged in Michigan, and agencies would not consider them as clients since they already had 2 children. So Pam and Ken looked elsewhere. They lived for a while in Spain, but failed to find a baby there. Ken, however, remained optimistic. "I'm sure we'll have another son someday," he told Pam upon their return from Spain, "and his name will be Michael." Pam, a nurse, wasn't so sure, and her initial optimism was fading. Since before her marriage, she had suffered reoccurring urinary tract problems. But she's got 2 kids already, right? Which seemed to be getting worse. If they found a baby, would she be well enough to take care of it? But when the Larsons met an attorney from Costa Rica who volunteered to help, Pam told him to try. Pam and Ken completed the paperwork required for a foreign adoption, filled out forms for the immigration service, and went through a home study, planning to go to Costa Rica the moment the phone rang, but no word came, and Pam's health worsened. She was diagnosed with interstitial cystitis, a degenerative bladder disease with no known cure. "It was a difficult time for me," she says. "I believed God could heal people, but I thought of it sort of like the Irish sweepstakes. I know someone wins, but since I don't buy tickets, it doesn't impact her. It doesn't impact me." Pam had asked God for healing, and others had prayed over her too, but she remained sick and discouraged. In February of the next year, a friend who had earlier prayed for Pam suggested her family pray over her again. Pam was reluctant. Why would anything change now? But she agreed. Afterward, her condition was worse, but the next morning, her family and friends prayed again. Her son Chris felt his hand begin to tingle. "Chris put his hand on my lower abdomen, and I felt a warmth come over me," Pam says. Someone said, "Look at her collar." My skin usually had a greenish tinge, but now it was turning pink. Within minutes, Pam felt rejuvenated. Had she been healed? In the midst of the joy and wonder of the next few days, the Larsons received a letter from the Costa Rican attorney. It had been 3 years since they'd asked him for help. Were they still interested in adopting? An eligible baby would be born in July. Pam's health remained excellent, and she prepared to live in Costa Rica for 4 to 6 weeks. When the call came that their son had been born, she was apprehensive about traveling alone to a foreign country with only my high school Spanish, but she felt so well that she left all her medication behind. Pam was given custody of the baby almost as soon as she arrived in Costa Rica, but nothing else went according to plan. Pages of documents would be lost or translated incorrectly, requiring extra work, she recalls. My visa expired after 30 days, which meant I could be deported if caught. My biggest concern was that the baby's mother might change her mind. At one point, the government revised some adoption laws, and Pam was told the whole process might have to begin again. Her lonely 4-week vigil lengthened. 2 months, 3 months. Ken came down to meet his new son and sign papers, but had to return to the children. Phone calls were a poor substitute for his reassuring presence. I was depressed and fearful, Pam recalls. Each day seemed like a month, and I often wept. But she prayed too, and despite the strain, her health remained perfect. Finally, on November 1st, Pam's attorney presented her with all her legal documents. She and the baby could go home. Pam raced to a phone and called the U.S. consulate. I'd like to make an appointment to present the papers, she told the assistant U.S. counsel, Gabriella. Gabriella went to get the file. Mrs. Larson, you're missing one document. Your final approval from U.S. Immigration, she said. Another mix-up on a paper that would have been filed months ago. We have a copy in Ann Arbor, Pam told her, trying to stay calm. My husband can send it by special messenger. I'm sorry. We need the original. You'll have to refile in Washington. How long will that take? Pam's voice was a whisper. 6 weeks at least. 6 weeks! Shocked, Pam hung up. How could this be happening? After all her work, her prayers. To leave the baby here was unthinkable, but to stay another day, another moment, she couldn't. Pushing open the door, she went into the garage, an open structure surrounded by plants. Blindly she paced, hardly aware of what she was doing. God, have mercy, she prayed again and again. Have mercy. She had come so far in her belief in him, his love, his care. But now it seemed she would lose her hold on him, would slip back into despair. And then she turned and saw them, 2 angels, 2 very large angels, so tall that she could see only their feet and ankles until she bent down to look up. They were barefoot, Pam says. One was blonde and holding a sword. I could see the tiny holes in the weave of his garment, the bottom of the rope belt that hung from his waist. She was stunned, but amazingly unafraid. My name is Michael, one told her. We're here to do battle for you. Yes, she answered silently, of course. Somehow it seemed right. God would do this for her. Pam had no sense of how long she stood there watching, marveling. Gradually the vision faded. As it did, she had an overpowering urge to phone Gabriella again, although she had no idea what she would say. But Gabriella was ecstatic. Mrs. Larson, are you a Christian? Have you been praying? She asked. Yes. Pam was still numb. And does God always answer your prayers fast? Tears sprang to Pam's eyes. Something wonderful was happening. She knew it. Lately, he's been pretty quick, Gabriella. Why? After you hung up, I turned around, and the messenger was standing here with a pouch, Gabriella explained, and jammed in the bottom under all the other papers was your missing document. We are here to do battle for you, and we haven't been able to find your number. Gabriella was still talking. I'm so glad you called back. If you get here before we close, we can release you today. The incredible sequence seemed like a dream. Had heaven really intervened? But how else to explain it all? You know they did. Just a few days later, Pam introduced her children to their new baby brother. Later, she visited her urologist, who astoundingly pronounced her completely cured. And as time passes, her answer to Gabriella's question becomes even more certain. Does Pam believe in prayer, a God who heals and sends angels and responds on his own perfect timetable? If she doubts, she need only look at her miracle child, her Michael, to find the answer. Her husband told her they'd have another son one day, and his name would be Michael. Now she'll always be reminded of that angel Michael. Tell me that wasn't God that sent them angels, and that's what got her and that baby home that day. No other possible way. It's not coincidence. That was God taking charge. I hope you guys enjoyed that story, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Good night, guys.